Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 339th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Just to say that I think 2 Saturdays ago I put a battle on that was 3 years. It was fought 3 years to that date. Last Saturday I put a battle on that was fought approximately a year ago. Well, this battle was only fought 1 week ago. So I just thought put a bit of variety into the battle list. Okay, our first teammate is Brotherhood member Mystique, who has bought the Rome SPQR faction. And you can see here Mystique has got 12 infantry and 2 archers. I know newer players to Rome Total War like to see our army builds. So if you notice here, can you see these archers have got 8 upgrades? So that's 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack, which makes these archers extremely serious archers there. 2 stripes, gold shield, gold attack. That's a lot of upgrade to put on your archers. Let's have a look at the cavalry. I see Mystique has got 4 cavalry. Let's have a look at the upgrades on that cavalry. And yep, 7 upgrades. So that's an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack on Mystique's cavalry. So that's an interesting army. 12 infantry, 2 archers, and 4 cavalry. Our next teammate is RTW player Lee. Now a lot of you will know Lee, very good 31k player, and if you notice there, I think he's just got 10 infantry. So 10 infantry, not a lot for the modern day battlefield, and I think he's got let's have a look at the upgrades on that infantry. Yeah, if you notice there, he's got 7 upgrades, so he's got an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his infantry there. So that experience stripe really does make a difference. And as I say, he's only got 10 infantry, but with that experience stripe, that's going to make a difference. Plus, I see that he's also got there. Can you see he's got 2 units there with smaller upgrades, which will probably be his polar shield units there. But he's also got an eagle unit with 7 upgrades on as well. So that's experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. Well, of course, because he's got a cavalry armored general, he can leave that eagle unit there to give morale bonus to his fighting infantry. As I say here, you can see, as I say, he's got the armored cavalry general. Now, up to about 8 or 9 years ago, we used to bring the armored cavalry general as a matter of course. But about 8 or 9 years ago, we changed to an urban cohort general. But I see Lee still brings the armored cavalry general, and there's a lot of advantages to that. Fast moving, very difficult to kill, can hit a lot of targets and not take casualties. So there are advantages to that, and of course it's got the rallying bugle as well. When your troops are fighting, he can blow his bugle there. And if you notice there, he's got 5 archer units there and 4 cavalry. So the upgrades of his cavalry, I wouldn't think they'll be too well upgraded. Nope, 6 upgrades, so he just got gold shield, gold attack on that cavalry. So that's a pretty good army there, but as I say, only 10 infantry, but he's got good upgrades and that eagle unit there as well. Okay, our third teammate is RTW player Mighty Mouse. Now Mighty Mouse plays in a lot of our games, very good 31k player, and as you can see there, he's got 10 infantry as well. So he's just got 10 infantry, and it looks like he's got 4 archers to me. 10 infantry, small number of infantry for the modern day battlefield. Let's have a look at the upgrades. Right, if you notice there, can you see he's got mixed upgrades. Some of his infantry have got 7 upgrades, so that's an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack, and some of his infantry are just gold there, but he's just got 10 units. As I say, he's got 4 archer units there as well. So 4 archer units, 10 infantry. Let's have a look at his cavalry, and he's got 6 cavalry, and you can see he got 7 upgrades. So that's an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry. So that would be an interesting army to see how well it does. As I say, 10 infantry, not a lot of infantry for the modern day battlefield, but it'd just be interesting to see how well it does. And our fourth teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought a very old Macedon army here. I think I've got something like I think it's like 14, maybe 15 pike units there, and 4 Cretan archers. Obviously, for my 120 man units, I need cover from archer fire. We'll talk about this army a little bit later on. So there's our team there. Looks pretty good. This could be an epic battle. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at my Macedon army. Just to say, up to about, say, 11 years ago, 10, 11, maybe 12 years ago, most people used to use the Greek cities in a defensive role. They used to, very often, you'd see in like a 4v4, a Greek cities general would form up a Greek box, or what they called a Greek circle of death formation, and he would just stand there in his formation and very often see his 3 teammates taken out without him doing anything. Which of course isn't very good teamwork, but then our team, for instance, who had taken out his 3 teammates, would have to try and attack this Spartan formation with tired, battle-depleted troops, and very often we would lose because obviously we couldn't break that formation with those the troops we had left. And I started to notice about 11 years ago or so, we started to lose, the Brotherhood started to lose battles against Spartans, because people were starting to use their full attacking capability and started to attack with Spartans. So I remember after one particular loss, I went into the custom lobby and I looked at Carthage and Macedon and made 3 kind of experimental armies. And for a month or so after that, I tried out these 3 armies from both factions against Greek cities, and I found that this army, what you can see here, is the one that suited my style of play best. It's, as I say, it's a block formation there with massed pikes. And as I say, that formation and this army suited me. Now, other people have tried this army and this formation, just couldn't get on with it. But it's a custom army that I built for my own kind of style of play there. As I say, it is a block formation. Now, it's got several advantages to this densely packed block formation here. If I'm attacked from the flanks, as you can see there, I can actually turn units to actually face the attack on the flanks while keeping a steady front line there. So as I say, if I'm attacked from the flanks, I can turn some of those densely packed units to counter the attack from the flanks while keeping a steady front line, as I've said there. So this block formation and this army does suit my style of play, and has been quite successful over the years. But as I say, this formation army is maybe 11 years old. So I always like to bring old armies onto the modern day battlefield to see how well it will do. But as I say, other people have tried this army and this formation and just couldn't get on with it. But like I say, newer players for Rome Total War, when you build a custom army, it's how it suits your style of play and how well you can play within your team to try and help them to win. So if you want to try this formation army, please give it a go. At this very early stage of the battle here, I just thought I'd show you how aggressive Mystique and Lee are both looking here on our right flank and right centre. Can you see they've got their archers right on the edge of the box there to attack, and they've got their cavalry right behind their archers to back up their cavalry, just in case the enemy tried to send their own cavalry forward to attack their archers. Let's have a look at Mystique's infantry formation there. As you can see, he's got his infantry quite densely packed there. And I think they're ready to attack right from the word go. And here is the other team. We have BIA Trajan, who has bought the Greek cities faction. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think he's got 14 Spartan units there. Yeah, I think it's 14 Spartan units, and I think 5 Cretan archers there. Yeah, 5 Cretan archers and 14 Spartan units there. You can see this, but let's have a look at the upgrades on some of these Spartan units. Right, can you see Spartan units 3 upgrades? Now, I think we've talked about this before. Personally, I think, you know, these Spartans have got excellent morale, 2 hit points, excellent overall specifications, but I think to get the most out of these Spartans, you need gold shield, gold attack. You need 6 upgrades on those Spartans, I think, to get the most out of them. And I think with just putting 3 on, you don't get the most out of the Spartans there, even with the excellent things that they've got with them. As you can see here, these 3 units, I notice that he's put 6 upgrades on. So he's got gold shield, gold attack on those 3 units. If we look at these other units here, he's got mixed upgrades. He's got some units with 3 upgrades on, some with 4. Some have got gold shield, gold attack on as well. But it's a very mixed bag of upgrades there. I see that he's unusually bought 1 militia cavalry unit, fast moving missile cavalry unit there, which he could cause mischief with if he wanted to. So that's that Greek cities army there. 14 pikes, 5 Cretan archers, and that fast moving cavalry unit there. Their next teammate is an RTW player who's called himself Archelaus. Archelaus, I think is how you pronounce it. We think he's a player that we know by a different name, but he's changed his name to this particular name for this battle. And I think he's got 369, 13 infantry there. As you can see, he's bought the Rome Giulio faction, 13 infantry. Be interesting to see what the upgrades are on this infantry. Right, if you look closely, can you see those upgrades? 7 upgrades. So that's an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on those infantry. So he's got 13 infantry, but with really good upgrades. So that army will be one to watch, I think, during the course of the battle, especially when it gets into the hand-to-hand fight. Let's have the upgrades on his cavalry. Right, if you notice the upgrades on his cavalry, can you see on this unit here, he's got just 4 upgrades. Now, I think Praetorian cavalry are elite cavalry, but once again, I think you do need at least gold shield, gold attack to get the most out of them. I see another unit there, he's got 5. One unit there, he's only got 3 upgrades on. So it'll be interesting to see how well his cavalry. He's obviously taken upgrades off of his cavalry, so he can put more ups on his infantry there. Whether that's a good tactical decision, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see as the battle progresses. Right, their third teammate is an RTW player who's called himself Coup. Once again, this is another RTW player we think we know quite well, but he's changed his name, so we're not quite sure who it is, but we're pretty sure we do know him by a different name. You notice there, he's got the old-fashioned Roman armoured cavalry general there as well. Nice to see them making a bit of a comeback. They can be quite good. And I think he's got 12 infantry there. Plus he's got an eagle unit, as you can see, he's got an eagle unit within his infantry there. So he can use his cavalry general all around the battlefield there, and he's still got that eagle unit to give a morale bonus to his fighting troops. So that's quite a nice army there. And I see he's got 5 Praetorian cavalry with 7 upgrades. So he's got an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry there. So that's a pretty good all-round unit there, army there. And their 4th teammate is RTW player Tut. Now, he's bought the Pontus faction. Some people say that the Pontus faction is what they would call a lesser 31k faction, but used properly, this can be a very powerful faction. And I think Pontus is Tut's faction of choice. He's got very good with them, and it'll be interesting to see how well he does. I see he's got 2 chariot archers there. I think he's got something like 12 pike units. Sounds like for the upgrades. There you go. We've got 8 upgrades. So he's got 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack on Pontus. Now, Pontus hasn't got very good morale. So giving them experienced stripe is a really good move, because obviously with experienced stripes, it keeps you fighting longer and keeps your morale up. As I say, he's got 2 chariot archers there. You can see there's a close-up of the 2 archers and the driver within the chariot. And I think he's got 3 foot archers as well. So to cover his 120-man units, as we know, very susceptible to archer fire. And then we got the infamous scythe chariots. Now, if you look at these scythe chariots, you see they've got spikes not only on the wheels but on the horses as well to cause maximum casualties to the enemy. They've got good attacking specifications, but these chariots, like all the rest of Pontus, got low morale and they can run amok. Now, when these chariots run amok, they're a menace to both friend and foe alike and can kill enemy and friend. In fact, they seem more dangerous when they run amok. They seem to cause more casualties when they run amok than they do normally. So bringing chariots is always a bit of a gamble with the ones that actually run amok. So it'll be interesting to see how well they do. And he's only got about 3 upgrades on those chariots too. So there's the enemy team. It should be a great battle for you to watch. Okay, so at this very early stage of the battle here, like we thought, you can see that both Lee and Mystique are running their archers forward. Very aggressive. Both Mystique and Lee can be very aggressive players, and I notice when they play side by side, they kind of egg each other on and can be extremely aggressive between the 2 of them here. As you can see there, that red cavalry general was going to come in to try and take out Lee's archers, but Lee was aware of that and sent his own cavalry general forward to counter that attack. Okay, so between Lee and Mist, they got a lot of archer units there, shooting arrows into those 120-man units that are extremely susceptible to archer damage. As you can see here, Tut's very good with his chariot archers there. Got them out on our flank in that Canterbury circle. And as those chariots go round, they're like shoot like a machine gun into enemy archers usually as they go round. You can see he's moving 2 pike units forward there to try and cover his foot archers from any cavalry attack. That's why he's moving those 2 pike units forward. So that's a nice tactical move there by Tut. Get his foot archers into range of our Roman allies' more long-range archers there. As we go down the battle line here, can you see there's a massive gap between our ally, between Lee and Mighty Mouse there? There is a massive gap there. But if you notice the enemy team as well, can you see between Coup and his Julii ally there is a massive gap between them two. This is highly unusual, is to see massive gaps between allies, because we like to keep our armies tight and together as a team, like. So to have two big gaps like that is unusual. As I say, these Pontus chariot archers going around in that Canterbury circle, they don't suffer that many casualties from foot archers when they're in that Canterbury circle, but they can cause a lot of casualties to enemy foot archers. Plus I see he's got his own foot archers in range of our allies' units there. You can see the enemy Julii general there moving that unit across. He'd love to hit those archers, but as I say, Lee is very aware of that with his own cavalry general there, and brought that general out to counter that particular threat. As I say, if you look across the battlefield, you can see the massive gap between our allies and our allies and the enemy's team's allies as well. With that big gap I showed you a bit earlier there. But as I say, it's very aggressive tactics here by Lee and Mystique. They can be very aggressive, and as I say, when they play side by side, they kind of egg each other on with aggression. Right, can you see that Julii general there taking his cavalry general unit there? Now what he'd like to do is attract a lot of archer fire onto his general unit there. His general unit, because it's so well upgraded, will suffer very few casualties by archer fire. Let's just pause the game for a second. He will suffer extremely small amount of casualties there from archer fire, but he can attract hundreds of arrows being fired at him from expensive Roman archers, auxiliary archers there. And so it's kind of like wasting your archers arrows shooting onto this general unit. Yeah, you might be lucky enough to kill one of his cavalrymen there, but if you can see, there's loads of arrows hitting down on him. And he, as I say, he might suffer one casualty. There you are. He suffered one casualty. But in general, that armoured unit very seldom suffers any casualty. And as you can see, there's loads of arrows coming in on it. So it's a waste of arrows really, just shooting at that general unit. And that's why he stood there, to hopefully to attract archer fire. Right, as you can see here, Misk advanced in there with that SBQR formation. Very aggressive there. I think what Miss wants to do is get into range of those Pontus pikemen there, and then throw all those pilers in that their arm is holding, to make lots of obviously to cause lots of casualties to the enemy team. As you can see, the enemy Julii generals moving units over here as well. But the position that Mystique has put that army in could be a little bit maybe isolated there, maybe open to a right flank and attack by Julii, and the Pontus hitting it from the front. And what I'm thinking here is the chariot archers there could be causing casualties there to the flank of Mist's infantry or to the cavalry. Meanwhile, over to our left flank here, you can see that our Scipio ally, Mighty Mouse there, is in an archer battle with the enemy archers. Only 8 men left in that archer unit there, but the Cretan archers will probably be shooting at his archers as well. So apart from archer fire, there's not a lot going on over on our left flank. As you can see, I'm moving my Mastodon army, shadowing the main Greek army there. Okay, now you can see there, that's the main Greek army. He's split into 2 other armies as well, with 3 units in it, but that's his main army there, and that's the army that I'll be watching with my Mastodon pikemen. Meanwhile, over on our right flank here, as I say, when Mist and Lee fight side by side, they usually seem to be very aggressive there. As I say, they seem to encourage each other to be aggressive. And as you can see, Mystique moving her SBQR army towards the Pontus pikemen there. As I say, if you look at the way that Mystique's got that army set up, loads of pilots ready to throw into that Pontus army there. And as we know, those big 120-man units are extremely susceptible to missile damage. So that's why Mystique has moved forward with all that infantry to cause a lot of damage to those Pontus pikemen. Right, okay, just like to show you an interesting tactic here, especially for new players. Right, can you see here that Tut's brought his archers round to the flank, but can you see how he ran those Pontus pikemen forward to engage the forward units and hold the forward units of Mystique's army? The red enemy Julii units are coming in from the flank. Now what I think Tut wants to do is smash into the flank of Mystique's engaged troops here, and looking to cause, maybe even if he can, a mass rout. Now can you see what the infantry are saying there? Can you see what Mystique's infantry are thinking there? They're thinking frightened by chariots, right? So when a unit's frightened by chariots, that means their morale drops and they're susceptible to mass routing. Right, can you see the enemy Julio troops smashing in from the other flank? Now if Tut charges those chariots in from this flank, as well as engaging those forward units, and bang as those chariots hit. Okay, now with pressure on the front, on the left flank and the right flank here, Mystique has got the possibility of having her complete infantry army there routed. Right, can you see a lot of those infantry? See how Mystique's army got a little bit isolated there? Chariots, the enemy saw this, took full advantage, smashing in with chariots, cavalry, pikemen, Roman infantry there are all smashing into Mystique's army. Now bearing in mind that those, don't forget those chariots we saw frighten Mystique's troops, lowering the morale of Mystique's troops. Right, Mystique's generals just routed as well, so her troops have even lost the general morale bonus at this stage. And if we pause the game, you can now see that all of Mystique's infantry has now been routed. Okay, so in one stroke, this game has been turned into a 3v4, with us being the 3 and the enemy being the 4. Mystique's army infantry have been completely routed there. Okay, so that was a nice aggressive attacking move there by the enemy. As they moved in, they saw Mystique might have been a bit isolated there, and they hit Mystique's army there, and has caused a mass rout. So it is now a 3v4. Right, can you see that scythe chariot we were talking about earlier has run amok, and now that will be killing enemy as well as friendly troops as well, are just running around, just as I say, running amok, killing everything, whatever it is in front of it. So that is the balance that you have to make. But those chariots also were fundamental in routing Mist's army. Now, if Lee gets too close with his own infantry, can you see they're unhappy to see friends routing? So the morale of Lee's troops has now dropped. And if he runs them in to where Mystique's main infantry are routing, then most of his army could rout as well. As I say, our right flank, with Mystique being broken there, our right flank has now been broken and taken there. And a lot of Lee's infantry now, because their morale was so low, seeing friends routing there, are starting to rout as well. I see the Greek city's armies coming over there as well to hit Lee in the flank. Okay, let's just pause the game here. Right, can you see a lot of Lee's troops are now routing? But look at the size of those troops, numbers there. 76, I think there was one there was 80 that are routing. Now those troops have got a good chance of rallying. As they move, as they run away from the main fray here, they may well rally. So now it's very important that the enemy cavalry and chariots chase down the routers. They need to bring those cavalry and chariots round there and chase down those routers, because if they don't, then those routers could rally, which would be good for us and bad for them. How many veterans watching this have seen enemy troops that were mass routed be allowed to rally and then come back and kind of bite you in the butt and go on to win the battle because of rallied troops? So when you mass rout an enemy team, like the infantry like this, you must chase them down, chase them off the battlefield. Don't let them rally, because with the high numbers of that Lee's got in those routed units, they're going to rally, I think, unless they're chased down. So to say, new players watching this, to Rome Total War, great to see a mass rout of the enemy, but you must finish that off by chasing the routers down. Right, if you notice here, I'm moving my Mastodon army towards that Greek city army, but as I say, our right flank and our right centre there almost broken. Okay, moving over to our left flank here, you can see Mighty Mouse is pulling back because he's threatened by not just the Julio army, but he's got Spartan units off to his flank there that could move in on him as well. So Mighty Mouse really, I think, tactically and strategically needs to move back over to us on this flank here. But he needs to be careful how he does that, because he doesn't want to leave his rear to be exposed to cavalry hits. So there's the general situation. As you can see, our right flank has been broken and our right centre is close to breaking there. But as I say, there's lots of men in those broken units, and if the enemy chase those units down, they've got no chance of rallying. But as I say, things not looking very good for our team at the moment. As you can see, I've moved my massive Mastodon army forward to counter that Greek city's army that's attacking Lee. It wouldn't surprise me if the Greek city's general saw my army come over and decide to back off. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. Right, can you see Mystique's got a high number, but Lee's got quite high numbers. You see, he's got 70s, Mystique's got 40s, and things like that. And these troops here could well rally. Now, what Tut should do here is go into auto with those chariot archers and attack these routing troops, chase them off the battlefield, not to let them rally, because there's a lot of potential infantry there that could rally and come back to the battle. Maybe some Julii cavalry could have gone around there as well to help chase them off. Right, you can see Lee's Legionary First Cohort, his Eagle unit, has also been routed. But look, it's got 115 men in that unit. So if it's not chased off the battlefield, it will rally. But as you can see here, remember the enemy are the Red Julii, the Greek cities, and Pontus. As I say, I've got some of Lee's archer units within my Macedon army. They're shooting arrows at the enemy. But let's say that Greek cities army didn't want to take my Macedon army head on there. Decided to back off. But as I say, as a glance here, you can see, remember, we're the purple and Macedon. So you can see our right and right centre here is in a really serious position. But as I say, can you see our allies' troops starting to rally there? Out the ones that were run away, the big units that were still had a lot of men in them are starting to rally. Now Tuck can see that, and he's trying to chase them down with his pikemen there. Can you see how he's running his Pontus pikemen forward, trying to chase them down? But a lot of our SBQ, our allies' units, are starting to rally now, as you can see. But as I say, Tuck knew the danger. He knows he's got to chase down those routing troops. But you needed cavalry and chariots, fast moving units there to chase them down, because now a lot of our units, thank goodness from our point of view, has now rallied. Let's just pause the game for a second. Right, so you can see these units at the back here were routed and have now rallied. You can see chasing down those units there, just not to let them rally there. So that's a nice move by him. But a lot of our SBQ, our routing troops, have now been rallied. So they're ready to come back into the fray. Okay, can you see my Macedon army there facing the Greek cities and that Julii army there? But Mighty Mouse, I think he's going to tactically retreat over to us here. He doesn't want to be isolated over on that flank where he's up against a Julii army, and I think it's 6 Spartan units as well. And he only had 10 infantry at the beginning of the battle, and a lot of those will be battle depleted, I would think, by this stage. So he's going to pull them back over to this flank here. But as I say, at this stage of the battle, you can see that with our right flank broken and our right centre nearly broken, things were looking pretty bad for us there. If you notice, the Pontus general starting to pull back a bit now, because Lee's still got a lot of his archers left. So Lee's going to be causing a lot of casualties to those Pontus units. Remember, those are 120-man units, reduced down to 43. And into their 30s as well. So they are extremely battle depleted, those Pontus units. But at the moment, it's only Mighty Mouse and myself have got our armies kind of intact here to face the enemy team. Well, I think Lee and Mystique's, I think Lee's army is some units of rallying, but I'm not sure about Mystique's. Right, can you see how the Red Julii army is trying to flank Mighty Mouse there? Right, just take stock of the situation. As I say, facing me is the main Greek army and those Julii units there. If you notice, I've moved my Macedon army over to face that Greek cities unit, but the army there, but that's a bad move, because I've then exposed my allies' flank to that Julii army. You can see the other enemy Julii armies are trying to get around the flank there. So, but as you can see here, a lot of Lee's troops have now rallied. Okay, now those troops have rallied there. All those troops routed, and they are now rallied. So that is a kind of a lesson to newer players to Rome Total War: chase down routing troops. Right, can you see I'm moving my infantry back over to cover my allies' flank there from that Red Julii army that would like to attack him in the flank. Okay, but also I'm very aware that a lot of those Julii infantry, especially the other Julii army, are going to have loads of pilers left to throw. And the last thing I want to do, remember, my 120-man units are extremely susceptible to missile damage. The last thing that I want to do is to leave my units exposed to mass piler hits. So I'm going to have to keep close. I think Mighty Mouse and myself are going to have to keep our armies close to each other here. I think Lee is probably trying to sort out his rallied troops there, as he won't have any formation for them, because once they rout, they come out of the formation. So he's probably trying to sort out those rallied troops there. You can see the Pontus general. Now he's got very battle depleted units there, but he's still a threat there with all those pikemen. So say there's a general view of the battle as it stands at the moment. Let's say Lee has rallied that infantry, and he's got all those archers there left as well. But basically, it's Mighty Mouse and myself that have still got our armies intact to face the rest of the enemy there. Right, if you notice here, Mighty Mouse using his cavalry there to try and take out that Julii cavalry unit, but the Greek cities have moved some of their Spartan units over, so it'd be a wise move, there you go, to move his cavalry back away from those Spartans. I see it at the moment. I think from what I can see at the moment, we have got more cavalry than the enemy team have. But whether that would be a decisive factor or not, I don't think so. Right, you see Mystique has rallied some of her cavalry there, but they're very battle damaged. And as you can see, a couple of Greek city units coming over there. Nice little hit there by Mighty Mouse going into the rear of those Greek city units. Bang, as that hits, routing that one Spartan unit and charging back in. But if that was me now, I'd pull those cavalry straight back out. You don't want to start fighting Spartans for any length of time with cavalry. Right, if you notice there, that Julii army is moving closer to my Macedon army now. I think that Julii army may well have full pilers left in those units. So I'm moving my army back. I don't want to obviously give them a free shot at my Macedon units there with all those pilers. As you can see there's a lot of Julii units left, and those Greek city units left, and the Pontus units at the rear there. Remember, we are the purple, the blue, and Macedon. The enemy are the red, Greek cities, and Pontus. So you can tell just at a glance there what's happening here. Let's say Mighty Mouse only started off with 10 infantry, and I think he's only got about 5 or 6 infantry units left now. So he's lost a lot of infantry units as well. If you notice here, Lee has deployed his troops to the right of my block formation there. But as I say, if you look over on the left here, you can see that we've got a lot of cavalry left. Mystique's cavalry and Mighty Mouse's cavalry there over on the left. As I say, Lee has got his troops there over on the right flank. Right, if you notice here, my allies there are moving their cavalry over in a threatening position to the flank of the enemy team. As I say, I think we are cavalry dominant at this stage of the battle, but our cavalry is battle depleted anyway. So it's not as good as it might seem there, looking at the numbers of the cavalry left in each unit. Okay, here as you can see, the enemy are quite strong there, and it wouldn't surprise me if they attacked our Scipii ally. And it may well be a good idea for our Scipii ally to go into Testudo at one stage of the battle there, being attacked by all those troops. As you can see here, Lee has deployed his troops, as I say, over to the right of my formation there. And it seems like the battle's almost taken a pause in the main area. But over there on the left flank, you can see Julii infantry and cavalry moving forward. They've just caught Mighty Mouse's cavalry there. He tried to run away from them, but he just got caught, and that could rout a lot of his cavalry units there. You can see he lost a lot of cavalry there. I think he had 6 battle damaged cavalry units there, but he's lost about 4 of them in that little melee. You can see Mystique has still got rallied cavalry and infantry out there, still causing mischief to the enemy over there on our far left flank now. But as you can see, the enemy are bringing out infantry and cavalry there to try and neutralise Mystique's cavalry there over on that flank. You can see Mighty Mouse bringing cavalry across as well to support Mystique. Nice bit of cover there by Mighty Mouse, and bang, as he hits that Julii unit. That battle depleted Julii unit is probably going to rout quite quickly, I would have thought. Yeah, just routed there. Now if he pulls that cavalry back because he doesn't want to tangle with infantry, yeah, nice move. Moved in there, took out that battle depleted Julii unit, and then moved away. He didn't want to tangle with infantry. Okay, over here on the main part of the battlefield, you can see it's almost like people are taking a breath, taking a pause, having a rest for a second here. No one's kind of doing anything at the moment. As I say, the Pontus pikemen at the back there have suffered a lot of casualties, but are still strong. If they advance into the flank of any of our enemy there, of any of our allies there. I'm not sure if Lee's got any arrows left for his archers. He may well use them in alt attack if he hasn't. Right, as you see here, you can see Mighty Mouse has put several of his units into Testudo there. I think he's ready for an attack from the Greek cities and the Julii army there. But meanwhile, over to our left flank here, you can see the enemy cavalry and infantry there moving back to the main general fray. I think Mystique's got 5 units left, and they're all rallied units there. Right, now can you see at this stage of the battle, Lee is taking his infantry over to the left of our left flank there. Now, he must have seen a strategic move to have done that, to move his infantry over there. But now, of course, that's left my formation with no cover on the flank for those Greek cities. Now, did you see the Greek city general spotted Lee's movement and now is bringing his main Greek cities army around the flank of my formation? Now, it wouldn't surprise me if the Julii infantry closed with the forward units of that of my formation to try and hold me there, with the Greek cities move around to the flank and attack me from the flank. And that would be a good tactical move from them, from the enemy's point of view. Hold me with the red Julii infantry and then bring those Pontus and Greek city pikes round to my flank. And that would be a good tactical move by there. So Lee moving away from the right has given the enemy some tactical ideas there. But Lee has taken his infantry over there for some reason. He's a really good RTW player, so there must be a reason for that. And if you notice that Mighty Mouse is over on that flank as well. So they might be looking to take out the army over there, hoping that I can hold while they do that. As you can see here, I'm moving my army back. I'm not too keen on being hit in the flank by those Greek city spearmen there. But as I say, I think that the enemy Julii troops will try and attack and hold the front of my formation while those Spartans come around the flank. I think that will be the enemy thinking there. Right, if you notice here, not defensive anymore. Notice I'm going forward towards that Greek city's army. Notice that Greek city's army is pulled back, doesn't want to face me head on. So now I've decided, right, I'm going to go left and go for those enemy Julii troops there. Okay, no more defense for me now. I'm going to take the battle to the enemy. And as you can see, I'm advancing onto that Julii force. Now, I know I'm going to get hit by those Greek cities there. But remember, this formation is tried and tested. Right, just going to pause the game for a second. Right, as you can see, I'm attacking the enemy Julii troops. I know I'm going to get hit in the flank by those Greek cities and Pontus pikemen, but because this formation is so dense, I'm going to turn a lot of my units to face the threat of those Greek cities and Pontus coming in from my flank while I attack those Julii troops, although they may well try and bring units around the other flank of my formation. Right, if you notice, Lee and Mighty Mouse have moved over to the left there. They're going to try and take out, my guess is, those Julii and Greek city units over to the left. So my job really here is to try and be an anchor for the team. I'm going to try and be the anchor and try and attract as many enemy attacking troops as I can to try and hold here and hopefully give Lee and Mighty Mouse a chance to take out the enemy on the other flank. Right, can you see what I said about this formation? Can you see how I'm turning loads of my Mastodon pikemen here to face the attack coming in on my right flank? Can you see how that dense formation, I like to fight in a dense formation with pikemen. Can you see how I've turned those pikemen to face the Greek city and Pontus troops coming in? Here, Mighty Mouse, can you see he's brought over some Scipio troops. Nice hit into the rear of those Greek city troops. Nice cavalry hit on that Pontus pikeman too. So well done to Mighty Mouse coming over to support here. But as I said, as you can see here, I'm turning loads of my pike units in to attack those Greek city units that are attacking me and those Pontus units. Right, can you see a lot of Julii infantry moving around? Now I'm getting ready for a left flank attack by that Julii infantry there. As you can see, Mighty Mouse really helping out here on the other flank with his infantry. But can you see Julii infantry, as we suspected, are coming around the left side of my formation. I'm now going to have to start distributing pike units over to the left to hold. But as you can see here, I've turned a lot of pike units forward here to attack the attacking enemy troops there. Okay. But I need to turn units over to face a threat on the other flank as well. As I say, I think this army of mine is kind of the anchor of the team, trying to attract as many enemy troops to attack me as I can, hopefully allowing my allies to get in behind and attack the attacking enemy troops, if you see what I mean. Mighty Mouse doing a great job in supporting me, and as I say, Lee and Mystique will probably be looking to take out as many enemy troops as they can. But as I say, being the anchor of the team here, I'm attracting a lot of enemy troops to try and break me. Of course, if they can break my formation, if they can break my army, then I think you probably agree that they will go on to win the battle. A lot of pressure on my Macedon army here, but as I say, look at Mighty Mouse charging cavalry and infantry here into the rear of those Greek cities. Remember, a lot of those Greek cities only had 3 or 4 upgrades on them. Right, if you notice here, I've turned a unit to face a threat on my left flank there. There's Greek cities and Julii troops charging in there. So as you can see, my Macedon formation is being attacked on 3 sides here. But Mighty Mouse is doing really well in supporting me over on this flank. There's another tactic I'm doing with this formation of mine you might well have noticed. I'm just going to show you now. Can you see these units here I'm attacking with? These are my aggressive attacking units there. Alright, I'm moving forward, attacking the enemy units there. These are my holding units. Now I don't want to attack with these units, I just want this formation to hold against these enemy troops here, while my attacking troops hopefully will take out these attacking enemy troops on that flank. So I'm using half my formation for attack and half my formation to hold. Meanwhile, over here on the left flank, you can see Lee's brought his infantry over here to attack the enemy red Julii troops. Hopefully taking a bit of pressure off of my my Macedon troops there. And as I say, you can see that Mystique has still got some cavalry units left, which she's very good with cavalry, so I imagine she'll be hitting strategic targets with that cavalry around the battlefield. But as I say, you can see I'm using half my formation to attack there and half my formation to hold, in coordination with Mighty Mouse is blue Scipio troops there. We're doing really well here on this flank of my formation there, with both of us working in coordination against the enemy. You can see a lot of those Pontus pikemen were battle damaged anyway. I just saw one of the Greek city Spartan units just get a battlefield promotion. If you see units glow during the course of the fighting, you'll know they've got a battlefield promotion. Right, as you can see here, I'm moving forward with my Macedon units into the enemy. And as I said earlier, those units up there are just being used as a holding force, while Mighty Mouse and myself attack the aggression of the enemy there. As you can see here, the enemy Julii and some Greek city units are trying to press in on me there, but as I say, those units are just holding them. Meanwhile, over on our left flank, I think Lee's doing extremely well with his infantry there. I noticed he's got his cavalry general close in behind his infantry, giving him that morale bonus there. So remember, we are the purple, blue and Macedon. The enemy are the red and Greek cities and Pontus. But a lot of the Pontus units have now been routed. Right, can you see me aggressively moving forward with those attacking pikemen of mine? See, I'm moving forward into those Greek city units. I want to make the most of the long pikes and the dense formation that I've got there. I like to fight this formation in dense, as I say, it's a dense formation. I like fighting like that. You can concentrate your pikes on targets. Right, can you see how I've upped my pikes there? Because I'm moving forward, once again, aggressively attacking those Greek city units in front of me. And meanwhile, my other holding units are doing well, holding the enemy team. Right, did you see that Spartan unit glow there? That unit has just got a battlefield promotion there. Let's say, keep an eye open for units like that, because it's useful to know that they've just got a promotion there. That would probably take them, you know, I don't know what, if that had a gold shield, gold attack, they would have just won a stripe there. Right, can you see Mighty Mouse still using his blue Scipio troops there to go into the rear of enemy troops? There, can you see his general and another unit charging into the rear? And I think he's just routed a Pontus unit there, but he's also attacking Julii units. Meanwhile, over here on the left flank, you can see that Lee's troops there. Remember, he's got all those are valid infantry. Now, just as I said to you earlier, imagine if all that infantry had been chased off the battlefield. We wouldn't have those SBQR troops there. So that is really good for us to have those rallied troops fighting there. Right, meanwhile over here you can see, as I say, my Macedon army was the anchor of the team, but I've turned that anchor into an attacking, it was a holding anchor, but now part of it is attacking. And if you notice there, I've upped my spears while I run those attacking units forward to take on those Julii units that are in front of us there. I thought this is a good tactical thing to show you for pikes. You can use half your force for attack and half your force to hold. And I just thought this was a good example for maybe newer players to Rome Total War that are thinking about using pike units here. Remember, you need to use point units, you need good micromanagement skills and fast reactions. But I don't bring point factions that often because I know my reactions have slowed a bit over the years. So, but I just thought I didn't do too badly with this old Macedon army in this particular battle. Right, can you see the Greeks' general has now been routed? Right, one of the enemy Julii generals has just been routed as well. So of course they're going to lose morale bonus through that. And another Julii, I think that was a Julii cavalry general, just got taken out as well. So their generals have been lost here. So they're losing their morale bonus there. Can you see those archer chariots going in and bang into the back? Those SBQR troops. But those chariot archers, even if you alt attack them, they haven't got great attacking specifications there. So if that had been a heavy chariot, you may well have routed that SBQR unit there. Right, if you notice here, can you see now that I've actually turned all of my formation into attack now? Those units that I was using for holding are now attacking the enemy troops, and we're starting to rout a lot of those Julii troops there. I see a lot of the, I think one of the enemy team has just admitted defeat, and it looks like we've managed to turn this around. Bearing in mind at the very early stage of the battle, it was kind of a 3v4 when Miss Infantry got taken out, but we've managed to turn it around. If you just look at the intensity of this battle here, you can see dead all over the battlefield here. See those chariots there? That's where they charged into the flank of Mystique's army and really kind of, I think it was their fault that Mystique's army are routed there. A nice attack there. You can see where my Macedon army was fighting those Greek cities and Julii units. And it looks like we've managed to, from what I can see here, it looks like we've managed to go on and win the battle from a very low position. As I say, once again, I know I've mentioned this through the battle before, but newer players, can you see that Lee's troops here became pivotal to the outcome of the battle, and they were all rallied troops. They should have been chased from the battlefield. Okay, so this is an average victory. I thought it would be a close one, and I'd like to say really well played to everybody in the game there. Just like to draw your attention to Lee's kills there, 1,940. Really good kills for Lee there. Well done to him. But I'd just like to draw your attention to the second and third highest kills. Tut and Trajan got the two second and third highest kills there. And look at Tut. Now that's supposed to be a lesser 31k faction. Got the third highest kills in the game. So really well done to Tut. Ku and the other Julii player there maybe didn't get the kills that they wanted. But certainly Tut and Trajan did extremely well there. As I say, with the second and third highest kills, they did really well. My army didn't do that good, but then I wasn't attacking that much. I was just maybe an anchor holding the, for the team there. I did attack with a few of my units there, but of course I didn't do massive attacks, so that's why I've got such small kills there. In fact, I got the lowest kills in my team. But I think, as I say, I was just acting as a holding force there for most of the game there. So I'd just like to say, once again, really well done to Tut, Ku, Archelius, and Trajan. Really well played, guys. Great battle. But also really well done to Mighty Mouse, Lee and Mystique. I don't know how he done it, guys, but to come back from losing a whole infantry army at the beginning of the battle and managing to come back to win, I just thought you guys played really well there. So this is Spartan Commander saying, hope you enjoyed this interesting battle, and remember to chase routing troops.